iPhones, iPads, and all Android phones. Like our Facebook page, NTA2 Lagos Network Center. You can tweet us at NTA2LNC. NTA2 Lagos Network Center, your reach out station.
Hello, and warmest welcome again to yet a fresh edition of our program, Closeflow, here on NTA2 Lagos Network Center. It's ever and always our delight welcoming you to join us at the table for yet the continuation of our conversation on how the Nigerian dream is being taken to where many of us actually we have pitched our tent since we were young, or like some people are already speculating, we are almost shifting the goalposts on where Nigeria should be. So this morning again, we have invited into the studio yet another distinguished Nigerian, to come and share with us again his own perceptions, his own thinking, his own, well, maybe deep studies on how close we are to making Nigeria a dream country for many of us. Our guest this morning, like we always say, is distinguished, particularly because he's a scholar. He is, as a matter of fact, a research fellow at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, where, of course, he was looking at international relations, diplomacy, conflict resolutions, and all that, and issues of security. But besides being a research fellow, he also teaches at the National Open University and the Lagos State University. Now, that tells you this man is deep. Now, so how deeply do we have conflict as part of the Nigerian psyche? How deeply do we have peaceful resolutions to, let's even look at it on a primary level, are the issues of communal interrelationships. So we'll be asking him, so is Nigeria a properly managed peaceful nation, or are we drifting away from making sure that all of us can wake up tomorrow and be sure we'll be going to our different offices? My pleasure, therefore, to welcome on your behalf all our viewers to the studio this morning, Dr. Segun Bolaniwa. You're welcome to Closeflow.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Now, let's quickly understand this so that everybody at home will be on the same page with us. I believe that besides the prehistoric reasons for people to want to survive, would there be any reason why people should be in conflict almost all the time?
Unfortunately, sir, from deep studies, as you mentioned in your introduction, and from the natural attitude of man, I think human nature is conflictual itself. In other words, there will always be conflict where there is man. So
I like that. So you have already read to that point that there is no way.
Yes, that conflict cannot occur or happen in human societies. So it is an inseparable nature of man in every society. In fact, man and conflict go together.
So where you have conflict, there will be man.
Yes, because every man has his or her own interest. And as a selfish man moves around realizing, struggling, striving to achieve his own interest, he or she clashes with another selfish man, and there conflict arises. So from there, conflict can move from so very small level which we call meso level,
Yes.
to the highest level,
Which can be national.
which can be national,
Which
it can be
global.
international, can be at any level or magnitude.
Okay, now I like that, Shegun. I like what you have just done, because that helps all of us to situate exactly where this conflict can come from. Now, but why must it persist? Why is it that all the judicial elements, all the things that man had put in place to say, okay, we can live together amicably, why are those things failing?
Of course, the law, judicial, whatever, the laws, the constitutions, the norms of the society, they're actually made for man, not for the spirit, not for animals. They're actually made for man. And so far, if these are made for man, it means they're actually meant to regulate man's attitude or attitudinal dispositions or his own reactions, because for every man's action there is a reaction.
Yes.
And within a reaction there is a counter action. So all of these sum together shows that the law is not made for any other person than man.
Okay.
And it is because of the nature and the attitude of man that one says that all of this is made for you. And if you play out of these rules, you play out of this thing, then you are going deviant. Because it's going to be, yes, you are going deviant. So it's going to be seen as deviation from normal attitude, from normal behavior, from the normal way a normal human being should behave. And there conflict arises, violence, it becomes violent. When it becomes violent, it's not well controlled, not well resolved. Then it becomes communal, societal, national, and global. And now also within this is attracting other interests.
Besides the primary interest that led to the conflict.
So in every conflict, there's a primary actor or primary interest. We also have secondary or secondary party or secondary interest. We also have even interested interest or interested parties.
Those
or we call them shadow parties.
Those who are seeing benefit that you are not seeing in that conflict.
They are gaining from it, deriving from it.
I like that now. So let's bring it close home.
Yes.
I know that in Nigeria, many people have said that the presence of conflict in the country is because we have not secured the relationships between all the parties in the country. So, would that be the primary reason, or do you think there are secondary reasons that many of us are not seeing that are now helping conflicts to grow in the country?
I am not sure, and I want to be very frank, sir. Why I say I'm not sure is that the conflict we have in Nigeria today, I see it to be more political than from other perspectives or other, let's say, narratives
yes.
or interests people have given. No. Sincerely, the truth is that everything in Nigeria is too politicized. So the over-politicization of issues in Nigeria, natural things, social things, security things have been politicized. If those things are not politicized, yes, like I said in the beginning, conflicts they are bound, they are natural to arise or to occur in every society.
Yes.
Even the so-called sane society or those advanced societies,
they have their own.
They have conflicts.
Yes.
They have conflicts. But all I'm trying to say at the national level here is that everything tends to be politicized in Nigeria, and that's why we have not seen direct solutions or clear way for us to tackle this. Yes, of course, not bringing all ethnic nationalities to bear in the right way at a very sovereign level, not a level that your report will still be assessed
by some other groups.
Yes, could be taken or may not be taken. No, sovereign national conference or sovereign entities of these national ethnic nationalities or ethnic nationalities coming together, hearing their views
and agreeing.
Yes, their views, their interests, what they want, their problems, the issues to be addressed. If all of these are brought to bear, sincerely, Nigeria is a country God has made. Sincerely, Nigeria is a country God will always be with. Of course, there are so many reasons to know that it is only God that is holding this country. Look at the Ebola issue. It's like magic, but it's God that did it.
If you just said that before you came on the screen. Yeah, okay, yeah. So now, that is, we'll come back to the Ebola. I just want us to find a way to exhaust what I think are the areas.
Yes. So like I was saying, so beyond that, but the major problem is the over-politicization of issues in Nigeria. For example, the issue of national security should not be seen as whether it's from one ethnic or from one dimension or from, no, it's a national issue. It's a national issue, and of course,
it's affecting everybody in Nigeria.
It's affecting you and I, everybody. Okay, imagine, is it not affecting everybody when innocent girls were taken away, all for national issues or all for political issues? So national security, it is not something to be politicized. Social security of the nation is not something to be politicized. Education, health, it's not, these are issues not to be politicized, and it should not go in the partisan way or for partisanship. No, these are national issues. These are issues that must be tackled. We all sit down, whoever that is there, whoever tackle this thing headlong or tackle these issues headlong, resolve them, people will clap for you. People will clap for you, the people will be happy. Not that you go to the street and share money, it will not go any long, it will not go any length. You give me 1 million, now in another 1 week it's gone. Pay school fees, do this, do that of children. So sincerely, it is just the management. That's another issue. The management of those issues. The management of those issues. Okay, now and in most cases, issues are also trivialized.
Okay, now let's come back to that. We've had some guests here who have said to us also that, well, the bigger issue with Nigeria is that Nigeria is getting the kind of leaders that Nigerians deserve, because Nigerians don't seem to ask questions, they don't seem to query their leaders, they don't seem to impose, as it were, their views, their demands, their needs, their understandings on their leaders, and therefore those leaders with impunity can just do anything.
Yes, you are right, and they were also very right. But what do you want Nigerians to do, sir? Rhetorically, I don't need an answer from you, sir. What do you want Nigerians to do? The political environment, the social environment, the economic environment, the total environment, sir, is not conducive for an average Nigerian
to open his mouth,
to take decision on his or her own, or to open his mouth and say something. If you say something against just a local government chairman, you may not see the light of the next day. You may not be able to do anything. You may not be able to say anything
to operate within that environment anymore.
So what are you going to say, or what would you say against somebody? Even if the person you are saying it against, or you want to air your views, you want to say the truth, you have something to say, you want to say, excuse me, Mr. This, Mr.
This
B,
is wrong.
This is wrong, sir, why don't you do it this way? Even if such a person occupying that exalted position, or those people occupying those exalted positions, would accept that, hook, line and sinker, and be happy and say thank you so much. Those who walk around them will not make you see them, or they are already punishing you, saying he is the one who says we should punish you for saying this. And even the man at the top echelon
may
is
not
aware.
know, yes.
It's not aware. So the environment, sir, does not permit an average Nigerian to decide who should be there. Again, look at the political machinations, the electioneering campaign, the
electioneering process itself.
The electioneering process itself, the structure, the governance of these things, the way they move. For example, sir, in Ghana, just our neighbor here,
2 doors away.
Yes, once the electoral body is put in place, the replica of our own INEC, once it is put in place, the funding comes directly from the government. Again, once it is put in place, the presidency, any arm of the government, either legislature, either the judiciary or the executive, none of them has any, in fact, not even input, not to talk of, I want to talk to you, visit me. No. In fact, the electoral body's chairperson or chairman becomes so powerful that the law made or has made him or her more powerful than the president. So in other words, there is independence of these electoral bodies or that electoral body in Ghana. And that is why, yes, everywhere there could be some problems,
manipulations, yes,
but not visible ones. Not direct onslaught on the
institution itself is
yes, it's
secured.
Independent, it's secured, everything's going well. So we need 1 billion more to do this one. They go there and tap from it as if you are writing your impressed, and they give to them independently. Of course, you come back and see account how you do that. So, and that has given the electoral process, electoral bodies, even political parties in a country like Ghana now some lessons how they go about it. Yes, and this now became bare on the electorate, the people. So the people are more aware now. The people are so happy now. The people are well assured now. But in this part of the world, in Nigeria, well, of course, we've said we are just democratizing, and that we're in the process of democratization. But sincerely,
so we have not arrived at democracy yet.
We have not arrived. We're still on the road.
Okay.
And it's a very tortuous road.
Very tortuous road. Okay, now let's borrow your brain. You being a research fellow,
yes, sir,
will mean that you are predisposed to seeing what is happening elsewhere and
yes,
what
sir,
we can do to help our case here.
Yes, sir.
Now, is it genetic for Nigerians to be predisposed to violent disagreement, to incessant, politicization of issues? Is it something? Is it psychic, or is it just that people are taking advantages of the environment?
Sincerely, comparatively, every society is synonymous with violence, but the level of violence, the way it comes, causes, the norms, and even how it is managed, or those violence are managed, they are all very different. The reason is that in this part of the world, I think it is the manipulations of the leadership. It is the manipulations of the leadership. At every level of leadership in Nigeria, the people are really manipulated. People's consciousness and intelligence are played upon. Unfortunately, other elements within the environment, living conditions, poverty, job insecurity, lack of access to average income, good social security or social amenities, all of these, they are not there. So these are the unfortunate factors enabling, aiding, helping those leaders or the leadership,
as it were,
yes,
to take advantage
in
of the
order
people,
to take advantage and manipulate people. And that is where we are now in Nigeria, and that is why all of these are happening. For example, it's on record both in the electronic media where we are and in the print media.
Yes.
We have had leaders in this country who say, did they vote us? Are they the one that put us here? You know all those things. That is the situation where we find ourselves. It is also in this country. We have seen situations where they will say, these people are hungry, just go and give them rice. They will say their future. We have seen it. It's coming to bear. It's on ground.
It's also in this country that I've heard of, if they don't allow us to rule, then there won't be any peace.
Yes, there won't be peace. And we've not seen any peace.
Now,
but comparatively, sorry, sir, you now see violence. Violence is act of deviance. When you are deviating from the normal norms of the society, then there is violence. And violence manifests itself in civil strife, gang violence, organized crime, robbery, stealing, attacks, people exhibiting anger. It's only in Nigeria where just an average man on the street, you tap him or you say, please, I'm going to walk on Nero Street. And the person will look at you and say, are you crazy? Did I come to Lagos because of you? No, not the person speaking, sir. It is the nature and the condition of where he or she found himself. And that's why you see reactions, negative reactions, attitudinal dispositions coming negatively. People are not happy. People cannot afford daily, just one square meal. People cannot do anything.
So there's pent-up anger. Okay,
Yes.
now, before we go to the psychology of it, let's come back to, because you have already rested, or you have arrested my interest when you mentioned the fact that violent expressions of
Yes.
disagreement come in different forms.
Yes.
Now, you said so much about stealing, whatever, but you have not said anything about insurgencies.
Yes.
Is that
I was coming to it.
Can that be part of an expression of buried anger?
Well, in some places, in some parts of the world, for example, as we have today now in Syria,
Yes.
in the Arab world,
Libya, yes,
Libya, Iraq, all
Yes.
those places, sincerely, it can be part of it. Because, for example, I'm coming back to the national level quickly, sir. For example, in Syria, the Alawites, from where Assad is from,
yes.
is a minority. Is from the minority tribe.
In Syria.
Yes, sir. In Syria, a country of just between 19 and 21 million, just about the population of Lagos. So, all I'm saying is that Syria is a country ruled by the Alawites, and the Alawites are the minority.
In that environment.
In that environment.
So naturally the majority are like...
Yes, the majority are not happy because of the dominance of the minority. In this context, Assad's father has been ruling Syria for years too, before the son took it over. Of course, that's also not different from some examples we have in Africa too.
Yes.
Look at Togo.
Yes.
And
34 years, 45 years.
Yes, all of that. So, but it could be some stripes, or like say when we have springs, or like the Arab Spring, or the type we have in Nigeria, we can say they could be part of it. But in the context of Nigeria,
Yes.
no, sir. No. Me, severally at different fora, sir. Both at the local and international,
Yes.
where I find myself with the grace of God. And some people of like minds. We've always talked, and I've always said that the type we are witnessing in Nigeria is purely political. It's purely political.
No, but Shegun, no. Can we be that can we be that simplistic about this? You think it's just purely political?
Sincerely, it is political. You know, Kamal said religion is the opium of the people.
You just sedate them with it.
Yes, in this part of the world, including Nigeria, religion has become people's
Answer to all questions.
Yes, they have seen it as a way of life. Of course, religion is an aspect of culture, and culture is a way of life. But of course, people in this part of the world, we have taken more seriousness, more adherence, more respect for religion than God that we want to use the religion to serve. So, religion is even seen in this part of the world as even being higher than God. And that is the problem we are having today. Today, if I come out today, I am this, I am that. And I just invoke certain things, I just begin one certain problem. You see the bandwagon effect, sir. From
once you say it's the name of
yes, God. In the name of this one, you see people killing, you see the whole streets occupied, you see everything going violent, you see everything being destroyed. So, for you to unleash violence in this part of the world, or like the type we are having today, for you to have, I want to call it in quotes, sir, legitimacy of violence. Just to have legitimacy of your violence, yes. Now, you have to anchor it or attach it to one religion. Then before you know it now, it's taking accepted momentum and it's spreading like a wildfire.
Now,
and that is what we have seen.
Yes, I know.
But underneath,
no.
For every conflict, sir.
Yes.
For every conflict, there is a primary, or what we call a root cause.
So how would you?
And that is why a tree cannot grow, though has many roots, but there is a tap root.
Okay, so how would you nail this Nigerian situation? What route can you trace to this that is happening in Nigeria, besides the politics?
Sincerely, from politics also to social issues. to social issues. Of course, you need to go to.
When you say social issues, you're saying the failures of past government.
Yes, failure of leadership too.
Yes.
Past governments in those places. Of course, it's felt and it's seen all over Nigeria, but it is more severe in one part of Nigeria, sir.
Yes.
More
yes,
severe.
Yes.
And they have ruled more than others. So where is it that those resources are going to? Where did you bury them? What have they used them for? What is it that you could not do for these people? If you go there, they are more impoverished than other parts of. Yes, and this is not what the people want to eat. They need food for their stomach. They need education
for their children.
Yes, for their children. They need to secure the future for their children, for the society, for the incoming generations. And that is how a society can evolve, because every society evolves and it is gradual. It is one step and the other by the other. So all of these things put together, sincerely, they are the cause or causes of the insurgency we are having today.
Okay.
And like I told you earlier in this our show, sir, the unfortunate thing is that everything now became politicized.
Okay.
Instead of these things to be tackled headlong.
Immediately, yes.
Tackled headlong. Okay, what do you want? Please, what do you want? Of course, it is seen even in international affairs, international relations. No nation has seen directly dialoguing with insurgents. So you don't dialogue.
Extremists.
Yes, or extremists or insurgents. But there are other ways that these things could be done.
Now, that is the issue again that we'll come back to at the back end of this. Now, just quickly, you're also an expert in resolution, in conflict resolution,
yes, sir.
in managing peacefully, situations that have become very violent.
Yes,
so, what would you advance now here, having seen the Nigerian case? What do you think we need to do to arrest the situation and to reverse it?
Sincerely, sir, the first major thing that Nigeria needs today is good governance.
Across the board?
Yes, sir, across the board, everywhere. Good governance. Let the government address the needs of the people. There's no amount of money you can give to Nigerians that will pay Nigerians, yes, or appease Nigerians. But provide the amenities, deliver the good governance. Let people see it everywhere. And good governance involves a lot of things. Not only good infrastructure, good roads, good everything, education, health system, not only all of that, but also include accountability. Accountability, prudence, openness, cheerfulness, good leadership. And it's always a saying that good leadership connotes good followership. And there's a Chinese adage that says that 1,000 sheep led by a lion can win several battles, but 1,000 lions led by a sheep cannot win a single battle.
Okay, all right. We'll go take a break there, because Sheikh has just given us an opportunity to look at the 1,000 sheep being led by a lion and the 1,000 lions being led by a sheep. Don't go anywhere. Don't be the sheep or don't be the lion, but just stay with us.
Network Center.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still Closeflow on NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Before we went on the break, Shegun actually said to us that, well, good governance involves so many things. I just want to come back to that issue because I think that has been the bane of the country. Now, the question will be, all over the world, it will appear as if big government, large government presence in most countries seem to have been jettisoned. Most countries are doing minimal government and a lot of people's interests, that is private sector involvement, private sector driven economy, private sector this, private sector that. So government is just there to provide the environment for the populace, the citizenry, to take part in the evolution of those communities. So why are we asking for big governments in Africa?
Well, it is part of the governance crisis we have in Africa. It is majorly one of the major bane of crisis of governance in Africa. We tend to bring everybody, friends, family, whoever, even into government because I'm there today and I want you to be part of me, even when you are not necessarily needed or you have no input or you have no thing to put into this governance project or governance issues or anything. So we tend to run a very large blossom government like an elephant project, which at the end of the day nothing will be achieved. And that is one of the crises of governance we have in Nigeria. For example, in Nigeria, except the Ministry of Petroleum and partly probably Ministry of National Planning, which was just carved out from one of the ministries, I think if not that, I'm not so sure, those are the only two ministries, at least, that doesn't have a Minister of State
attached to it.
Yes.
So for every ministerial position, you have an appendage.
Yes, sir. In fact, some ministries, they have 3 ministers. For example, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there's a minister. There's a Minister of State 1. There's a Minister of State 2. So 3 ministers. So it is like that in some ministries too, or in most ministries. But it is only, I'm fully aware of the Ministry of Petroleum because I don't think there's a Minister of State
attached to
yes,
that.
to that.
So why do we have such duplicity? Why do we have such that?
Well, I wouldn't know. They said the Constitution provided for that. But I'm not sure, even if the Constitution says you should have so many ministers or 2 or more ministers in the ministry, we can also apply what we call judicial antecedents, judicial experience, or whatever in the law courts which they attach to giving judgment to certain cases and all of that. I say, why do we need
all
even
this?
to if we are putting the round peg in round holes? If round pegs are put in round holes, so why do we need all this? Let a professional man in ministry carry on your work. If you are tired, we change you. If you don't want, if you are delivering, stay put.
Okay, so we are saying we really need to actually have a rethink on how governance is being delivered in environments like this.
Yes.
Now, but let's come back. Let's come back now to the question of the involvement of citizens in such decisions. Now, that is where politics come in. So, from your own study of conflict and how it's being resolved across the world, do you think that Nigerians are currently properly equipped
about taking decisions?
Yes.
On political issues?
Yes, rallying. Even can you come and address a Nigerian gathering and say to them, this is how we need to go, and they will now follow? Do you think we have that capacity?
Yes, we have. Unfortunately, the political environment also does not allow you. There is intimidation. There is the use of political machinery to dispose or disperse people or to tell people. That's why I said in the beginning of this our program, yes, I said that the major problem Nigeria is facing today, including that of insurgency, poverty, bad governance, bad leadership, economic problem, social problem, and all of this and whatsoever, sir, is the over-politicization of everything. Is the over-politicization. Because once you are bringing people together or you are trying to sensitize people, socialize and fraternize with people, this is how things are done, this is how you should go about your daily living, this is what you should do every day, one person or certain people from certain quarters in government will come out and say it's an illegal, it's an illegitimate, you need a police permission, you need this one. And unfortunately, I don't know whether they are forgetting every time that even other than constitution of any country, it is a fundamental human right
for people to gather.
Yes, to have a right of association, to have a freedom of expression. Of course, nobody is saying you should be saying rubbish. People will not listen to you when you are saying rubbish. But that doesn't mean you cannot gather. That doesn't mean you cannot be saying what you should say, so that whoever wants to hear could hear or could listen. So that may not happen, sir, in this part of the world for political reasons.
Now, Segun, you have painted a very dismal picture of Nigeria. I don't know if many Nigerians want to agree with you. After 54 years, we are still not sure if all of us can actually have a say in the way the political machinery is being managed. You think?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, not that I'm a Nigerian too. I cannot, even if I have American citizenship or British citizenship or citizenship or even Canadian or any citizenship today, I will never want to absolutely throw away my Nigerianness or Nigerian citizenship. No, I'm also a Nigerian and I love to be a Nigerian. Only that God has given us everything, but our leaders, the political environment, all of these things put together, they are not making Nigerians happy.
To stand.
And sincerely, I am so sure I am speaking the mind of average Nigerians. Sir, go out there on the street, you see that an average Nigerian is not happy. An average Nigerian does not see a very, not for himself or herself particularly, but does not see a bright future for Nigeria. And it is not because Nigeria does not have everything to make us survive 1 million years, so many years that God has put it together. But the leadership we have, the way things are done, the way things are run, those who run those things, why those things are run, why those things are done. Imagine if somebody who has been elected or selected,
whatever the case is,
yes, we just want to go for tribunal hearing or whatever, which even your presence may not be needed, is your lawyers or probably your supporters. We just go somewhere and a judge wants to say, please, we want to start this session now. Please, can we have silence? Can people give us way in the courtroom and stay outside? Yes. Which is not a wrong thing. Anybody can say that even when you are not even a judge. But for God's sake, this is a court premises or this is a court room. The next thing is for you to be riddled naked, for you to be given dirty slaps and all of that. Sincerely, in a sane society, that is not done.
Yes. Now the question though, Segun, is so who accosts or who arrests or who stops this if not the people? It's only the people who can actually now say you cannot behave that way. But when Nigerians, like you said, Nigerians are already compromised. They are already marginalized. They are already, so that means it is roughshod all through.
Yes, of course. Now it is the people who can do this. But in this situation presently now, if Nigerians rise on the street or rise and go on the street and unleash violence and try to right things, because things are very wrong now, yes, and try to right things, the government of the day will see it as orchestrated violence. The government of the day will see it as a borrowed violence. It will also see it as a paid violence. And
which might not be untrue.
Which is not true. Because it is also because of the problem of politicization. Because it's unfortunate when you are in government and the government is running, yet you are also politicizing issues yourself. When you should see things from the legal and the right perspectives and put it in the right place, people will say, yes, this person is doing the right thing. It is also these people that are not doing the right thing. So when people go to the street, when the people go to the street now, sir, they will say they are borrowed, they are paid for,
hired,
or they are hired to achieve certain things. They will also see it as political. Not even what they are clamoring or shouting for will be addressed. It is only in this country People will shout, people will make noise, people will do this, people will do that.
But nothing
yet
is achieved.
the government of the day will never look at it or address it.
Now, we will leave that for another day.
Yes, sir.
The jury on that, yes, we'll leave that for another day. Let's come to one other area that I get a little bit worried about. We're a lot worried about. That's a question of labor relations. You are in the environment, the academia, where between government and the academics, you guys cannot seem to quickly come to an agreement on any issue. Today is one step forward, the next day 2 steps backward, and then we are not sure where we are. So why is that? Is that something again to do with politics, even in the academia?
Yes, sir. It's still politics, because even people at the end of affairs, they even in the ivory towers, they are also politicized. Yes, they are involved because there's no prudence. No prudence, no good reporting, no accountability.
So they are also compromised at their own level.
Yes, a lot are also compromised. And by the time they are meeting at the highest level, the right situation, the original situation on these campuses, in the academic environment, either in the polytechnics, universities, or colleges of education, are not reported. They are not pictured in the right way. They are not given in the right way.
All the provisions made to alleviating even problems within
are not even made available, are not even evenly distributed, are not even able to reach or get down or trickle down the lane to those who deserve it. So at every strata of the society, you see all these issues evolving, coming up and everything. Can you imagine, sir, even an average or an ordinary councillor, I'm sorry to use the word ordinary, but an average councillor, once you are elected or selected in Nigeria, not to talk of a chairman, a commissioner, a minister, a governor, or even the president. Once you are elected or selected, you see friends, you see family members, you see well-wishers strung around you, and all of them, you say, this is your time. This is your time. Better don't waste time, because you may not have your way to this place again. So do everything you want to do, eat everything you want to eat. And that is the way it is done in Nigeria, which is unfortunate. And that's why everything is kept being politicized, up to national security issues, national agenda,
even
national issues.
Even the military exercises are also being politicized.
Very well, very well. Now, for the first time in the political history of Nigeria, this is the present time that the Nigerian military has been ever politicized. So politicized beyond imagination, and so polarized beyond imagination. So it's a serious crack wall. A lot of lizards are already inside.
Now, you're involved with international diplomacy in your as part of your research project.
Yes, sir.
So, how, from the advantage of having traveled outside of Nigeria, how do our partners? Let's be positive. How do our partners outside of here? How do they see Nigeria?
Hi. Well, before now, Nigeria was coming back into the Committee of Nations, as we call it, international relations. We're coming back into reckoning, into prominence, preeminence, taking our proper place. Even till now, we are still struggling to take it up again. But at the same time, in many countries where Nigerians visit, or from our own experiences, we've seen Nigerians are seen as, you're coming from a violent country, you're coming from a country where this is happening, that is happening, all of this, and that you are coming from a country. In fact, when you get to some airports and you're trying to check in, you're on the queue, immediately you flout your green passport. You see signs on the faces of the immigration officials, security personnel, all of them at the airport, signing themselves like this, giving themselves signs like this, as if they are here. They can turn everything to another thing. As in, you see all those signs, but there are more responsible Nigerians than countable or migra or very few Nigerians who are spoiling that name.
Yes.
Of course, we all know that. But even at the political level, the stigmatization we give to the country itself also affects every Nigerian wherever you go to. Because you see it took the president at the General Assembly, which opened in September, UN General Assembly in September, to give about 8-page or about that speech.
Voluminous, yes.
Yes, speech to tell the whole world from the platform of the United Nations what Nigeria has been doing over this, over that. And I also remember, because I have a copy of the speech, which he also said that, yes, concerning 2015, Nigeria is fully prepared. I, as the president, is also fully prepared, and I will go by any decision the people make, which is correct. And by the grace of God, people like me out there, would also be praying that may God help the president and every machinery he has put in place to let us follow what he has promised.
For 2015?
Yes.
Okay, now, before we come into 2015, because that actually is on my table, what we'll be doing in 2015, we'd like to remind our viewers, of course, that you have the number here on the screen, so you can send in your SMS messages so that Shegun can also react to the questions you would like to ask him about conflict resolution, about peace and diplomacy. Now, some people have actually becoming very apprehensive that 2015 going to be a watershed. You're not worried about 2015.
I'm worried too, sir. But at the same time, most of these worries or these unnecessary worries is also beyond normal international conspiracy or conspiracies. I think there is more of political pressure again from
being
that
created.
perspective. Yes, to create certain fear in certain people or in the electorate, just to have their way or their, you know all those things. It has been the way we have seen things. It has been the way we have seen things, and it's been the way people are already doing things. So, of course, there was a report we had a few years back that Nigeria is going to disintegrate in 2015, and there also have been several other reports, even at the national level, where people say they say Nigeria will disintegrate. Certain people will say they are making Nigeria ungovernable. Certain people will say Nigeria will break and all of that. If we don't break, are we not the Nigerians? We are the Nigerians. So our fate is in our hands. Yes, our destiny is in our hands. So you're saying
that Nigerians we must have the self-confidence
yes,
to say, no, this Nigeria is not going to break.
We must have the self-confidence. We must have every good thing and the belief and the self-confidence in God that we will not break. Except we Nigerians want to break it. Because there will be more bigger problems than what we are facing now. That's supposed to have broken Nigeria. But Nigeria did not break. Nigeria is still one by the grace of God. So I think it's political machinations, political apprehensions, political selfishness from certain quarters, particularly the political leadership. So that is creating more fear in people than just any other report that Nigeria will break in 2015, Nigeria will do this one. No.
So that is from your studies.
From my studies.
You don't see anything on the...
I don't see anything breaking, because what if God has said by 2022 or 2021 I will be president? So if Nigeria breaks now, how will I be president in 2020?
Sokoto State. No, but seriously. Now, what would you say to younger Nigerians? We seem to have lost our sense of history. Everything we seem to do now is just about now. Nobody's calling it into attention things that we have had in the past as part of our story. So, what will you be saying to younger Nigerians about the story of Nigeria? Many of them don't even know someone like Obafemi Awolowo, for instance.
Well, my advice to younger Nigerians or younger people like me is that we need history. We need history, because a society without history is a society without the future. Because the future of every state or every society predicates on the past and the present in order to plan for the future. So in this context, an average Nigerian, a younger Nigerian or young Nigerians out there should try and look at the past what has happened in the past, how issues were treated in the past, political, social, and economic issues, the way they were done in the past, and even governance in the past. And they should be able to know what they should do, what people are doing, and how things should be done, so that we learn from the past. We are where I could remember then, back in those days, even in our primary school and secondary schools, we were taught who Chief Obafemi Awolowo was, who Chief Nnamdi Azikiwe was, who Sir Ahmadu Bello was, who Tafawa Balewa was, and all they did, and how they put the people's well-being at the back of their hearts. And now the new crop of leaders that we have in Nigeria, or crop of leadership that we have in Nigeria today, how not the people now, but their pockets is what's at the back of their minds.
That is stomach infrastructure.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
We'll come to stomach infrastructure now. Tunde from Lagos says the leaders then who will now want to continue ruling. What do you have to say about them? You said leaders that are not delivering, and yet they want to continue ruling. What will you say to them? Then somebody says, for long we have heard that the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow, but it is a pity that the youth of about 30 years are not equipped to become leaders. Quickly, those two questions.
Yes, sir, you are very correct. Let me begin from the first question, actually. Yes, in every society, I've said it earlier, there are good people and there are bad people. Sincerely, there is no how bad a society is, then you are not going to get or see a good leader. I am sorry to say, like you say, I'm an academic, I'm a researcher. I don't want to be partisan, but sincerely, from among so many people, a leader like someone like Governor Fashola was picked from nowhere.
Yes.
He himself, from several statesmen, has said he never planned to be. Yes, he didn't prepare to be governor or anything, but God has really helped him. He has delivered. He has done very well. We can see the presence of good governance in Lagos. But beyond that, good people will come up. Good people will come up. In the Bible, when every time Moses went to talk to God on the mountain, these people are crying for this thing again. What will I do, sir? These people are saying this one. God will say, listen to what I say and do as I say. Now,
right.
In most cases, God said, I will bring people up. From within the people that Moses did not see, God brought up Joshua and Caleb. And that's how God does his thing.
That is what the young man is saying.
Yes,
30 years old young people don't have any space in government.
On the other side of that, there is what we call political hegemony. And it is most times synonymous with African leaders. Political hegemony is the sit-tight attitude. In this part of the world, our leaders want to be there for life. They don't want to change. They want to rule third time, fourth time, fifth time. Look at what happened in Egypt. That was what turned Egypt into where it is today. Look at Togo. In Togo, Yasimbe Eyadema ruled for 39 years. The man died there. His son, Fao Eyadema, that was given birth to in the presidential palace in Togo, also became the president in the same palace. Can we call his own from silver spoon to which spoon? To gold, diamond, every spoon. You understand it now? Look at in Gabon, Omabongo. Look at Gabon, Omabongo. Look at Kabila in DRC.
Yes.
You know, all those things. So, all I'm trying to say is that in this part of the world, African governments doesn't prepare the youth
to take over.
Yes.
So the youth must find a way to take over by themselves.
Yes. So look at just to close this session with this now, look at, there's this American president said, don't think of what America can do for you. Think of what you can do for America. And again, he said that if we cannot prepare the future for our youth, then we prepare our youth for the future. All
right, thank you very much, Shegun. It's nice having you here. If we allow you to continue, I'm sure that our viewers will have to attend a class on international relations, diplomacy, security, and conflict resolution for you to deliver all that long thesis. Thank you for coming on the show. We have learned a lot from you. I hope that we can have you come in again before 2015 so we can look at what happens to Nigeria. The conversation, of course, will continue on www.what&where.com. nta2lagos.com or www.youtube.com/nta2lagos. Go and subscribe to what Shegun has said. Share with your friends and let's be part of this conversation. Thank you for watching. Have to yourself a beautiful day.